Sorry, I guess I need a microphone so you can all hear me. Good morning, boys and girls. How many of you know how much a miracle costs? You know, Christmas is the time for miracles, and they must cost something, surely. How much do you think one would cost? Well, I met a little girl one time in a story that knows exactly the price of a miracle. And this is her story. It was Christmas Day, and everyone was happy. There was Christmas songs playing, and people singing in the streets, and gift giving. But there was no excitement in the little hospital bed where a little boy lay, and a doctor was checking him with his stethoscope, and he turned to the parents and he said, "Only a miracle will save him now. I've done all that I can do." And the little girl in the doorway, for it was her brother that was on the bed, the little girl in the doorway quick ran out of the hospital, and she went home and found her piggy bank. She had been given $1 for Christmas, and when she opened her piggy bank, she had 11 cents. So she had $1.11. That doesn't sound like a lot of money to us today, but to that little girl, it was a fortune, and she was sure she could buy a miracle for that. And she went to the pharmacy that was just around the corner, and the druggist was there, and she was waiting at the counter patiently, but she was urgent. She had to get the medicine for her brother, or he would die. And so finally, she knocked on the counter with her little coins, tapped them on the counter to get the pharmacist's attention. And he looked her way and he said, "Well, young lady, how can I help you?" And she said, "I'm here to buy a miracle. My little brother is sick, and the doctor said only a miracle will help him now. I'm sure you have a miracle here, and I have the money to buy it." And the pharmacist looked down at her, for he had been talking to a tall gentleman in a big fur coat. And he talked to the man in the tall man in the big fur coat, and he said, "This little girl and her parents have been here every day trying to buy medicine for their little boy. For their little boy, and her brother, he's not well." And so the pharmacist began talking to the man in the big coat and said, he began talking about spinal columns and infections and specialists and stuff. And finally the man in the big fur coat looked down at the little girl and he said, "I think the cost of a miracle today is $1.11. Can you tell me the name of the doctor that's taking care of your little brother?" And so she told him the name of the doctor. And he went to find that doctor, and he was still at the hospital, and he was still in her brother's room, and they began talking. And her parents were bewildered. They couldn't believe that this specialist was going to actually be able to take care of their son, and they had no money to do it. They had no idea how it all happened. But the little girl was all excited, for in her heart she knew that a miracle cost $1.11 plus the faith of a child. Thank you. He did. He did get well. The specialist helped him, and he did get well.
Amen. Amen. I like that. The miracle.